Broncos fans, here's the deal, all right? Preseason football is fun for a little bit, right? But at the end of the day, we're waiting for the main entree, okay? And preseason, it's a good warm-up for us as fans to get ready back for that football routine. You know, how much time do you need to get on the couch with your food and drink before kickoff? But at the end of the day, it's not even the end of the day. At the beginning of the day and every stage of the day, we're ready and waiting for regular season football. So go ahead and like that video if you're ready for week one of some real football with starters going 4 quarters, not just 4 series. Go ahead and like that video because I know you're ready for that week one matchup in New York against the Giants. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson, and 3 weeks is all we get for the preseason, and they are in the books as the Broncos and Rams matchup wrapped up not too long ago over in Denver, and here's what it looked like. The Broncos, they continued that perfect start to the season, 17-12, well, the preseason we'll call it. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but the big storylines out of this one was finally we got to see a big bulk of the starters. Von Miller, Courtland Sutton return, and Von Miller really stole the show. First game back in over 608 days. You got to go back to the final week of that 2019 season as he missed all of 2020. And how did he play? How do you think he played? He looked like the Von Miller we've all been waiting for. 3 tackles for him on the day, but that's not what the storyline was. He was doing effective damage in the run game, in the pass game, everywhere he was. Von Miller looked like the Von Miller we all know and love. It is worth noting he's entering that final year of his contract, so hopefully we're going to squeeze every great bit of juice out of Von Miller if this is the last season he's suiting up in orange in Denver. So pick a number, guys, here. How many sacks for Von Miller this season? You're going to go double digits? You're going to cross that threshold? Or maybe just keep it on the softer side with 8 or 9? Personally, I think that number 10 is a great starting point. I don't know if he's going to jump up to 12 after coming off that ankle injury, but I think 9 to 10 is a solid range. Head over to the comments and let me know how many sacks you think Von Miller will have this season. Head coach Vic Fangio named Teddy Bridgewater his starter earlier this week, and Bridgewater started a little slow in this one, but had a great finish. 6 for 11, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Early goings were a little tough, but wow, Teddy did look like that week one starter we are ready for down the stretch, hooking up with Courtland Sutton for that lone touchdown pass. Meanwhile, Drew Lock, he was with the twos. He's going to be the backup quarterback to start the season. It's going to be fun to watch this battle because it's far from over, in my opinion. But Lock overall, it was okay. I mean, you're going to play at the backups. It's hard to really get a ton out of him. 5 for 7, a touchdown. Had a bad fumble that he just held on for too long. Overall, Drew Lock, at the end of the day, it's the turnovers that really haunt him in his chase to be that starting quarterback. So you lose a fumble, you kind of prove head coach Vic Fangio and GM George Payton right. So tough day for Locke overall. Didn't shine as much as he would have liked to make up some ground in that race to come back from Teddy B. Broncos fans, you want to make some money this season? Here's what you got to do. Head down to BetUS. Visit the link right here, chatsports.com/bet. Once you're there, use the promo code Broncos125. What are they going to do for you? They're going to hook you up with a 125% deposit bonus. What does that mean in English? Say you put $100 in. You're going to walk out with $225 to spend all over the place. And the Broncos this season, they're pretty exciting stuff here, all right? So head over to BetUS, chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Broncos125. A really exciting bet that I'm keeping my eye on is that Von Miller return a comeback player of the year. Head over and check it out. Courtland Sutton also made his return after missing pretty much the entire 2020 regular season and had not seen him throughout the preseason, but he comes out for week 3. It looked like the dress rehearsal for head coach Vic Fangio. He opts to use week 3 for that role, and Sutton, he looked great, honestly. I mean, a little shaky, not on his end, but from the viewer's end of how's that knee going to hold up, all right? Had a brace on his left knee, but overall his cuts were silky smooth. and it was just a great outing for Courtland Sutton. Had a nice touchdown reception in the red zone, find some open space. Pretty much a perfect return you could have asked for Courtland Sutton in the preseason. So all in all, great day for Sutton, for Von Miller. But he's not the only one who made a return. Melvin Gordon, he's been quiet all preseason. Not really an injury issue. Sure, he got banged up a little bit with a groin injury, but that was nothing serious. At the end of the day, Coach Fangio just wanted to hold him out, and Melvin Gordon looked like RB1, 5 carries, bursting for 35 yards. Check out what he did last year in his first season at Mile High. Nearly eclipsed 1,000 yards, but that average, that's nice. Just over 4.5, 9 touchdowns. This is what the Broncos paid him to do, and he's doing that exactly. And it's exciting stuff for Melvin Gordon. Really excited for that running back duo between him and Javonte Williams. Now time for the preseason training camp MVP, Trinity Benson, a roster bubble guy, and this may be the last time I really get to just give him a big hug and a kiss like I do on these videos because he's been so fun to watch, and I think he may have secured a roster spot today. 1, looked great on special teams, was out there for the punt return with the first unit. That's a very positive sign. 2 receptions, 34 yards, only 2 targets, made the most of them. Had some more targets, had some other plays look his way, but penalties kind of erased it. All in all, great outing for Benson. I'm going to have a roster projection video come out later, right before that deadline. And now here's a little preview, a little foreshadowing. I've got Benson making the 53-man roster. Now, here was an interesting part throughout the entire broadcast. You may have missed it if you weren't watching the actual broadcast itself, but GM George Paton, he came up and talked with Steve Levy and Greasy up in the booth, and one interesting nugget he released to the viewers and the listeners was that Denver's been getting a lot of phone calls for cornerbacks, and it's a very premium position in the NFL. So here's my projected 6-deep cornerback depth chart, and who's calling and for who? Hard to say who is calling because I think everyone would love an upgrade at corner. But I don't think they're definitely not going to move on from Kyle Fuller, right? They just signed him. Absolutely not PS2. That's your first-round pick. So now you're looking at the 2 guys in the middle, Darby and Callahan. Maybe Denver's looking to pick up some assets. I don't know. I think they're pretty content with having that stacked cornerback depth chart when they've got to face, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert 4 times a year. So I doubt they make a move, but it was interesting to hear what GM Paton had to say about that. Finally, with preseason in the books now, let's get ready for the regular season. We're not going to run through the whole schedule here because I think that's just too much to do because the NFL is a parity league. It's all about what happened the last week to set you up for the next week. So here's the first 5 games here. Starting off on the road at New York against the G-Men, and then they go down to Jacksonville to face Urban Meyer. How about a home opener against the Jets? I think that should be a big win. And then they take on the Ravens at home. I'm happy that's a home game. Much rather play that in Denver than over in Baltimore. And then week 5, they travel to Pittsburgh. Looking at this, the schedule right here, I'm hoping for a 3-2, 4-1 start. I know that's ambitious, but Denver this preseason has looked really solid all along. So what do you think the Broncos' record will be after the first 5 games? Denver's had some tough starts in September the last couple of years, but this could be the year they turn it around and get off on a right foot and a good foot against some lesser opponents in the 2 New York teams in Jacksonville, Baltimore at home. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think the Broncos' record will be after the first 5 games? Personally, I think 3-2. I think that's attainable, and I think that's a good benchmark right there. You pick up a win against either Baltimore or the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you drop a road game in either New York or Jacksonville. It's inevitable, and that's just the NFL. But let me know what you think down in the comments.